one of my biggest pet peeves is when people don't run the right fucking routes or they run the same exact route as me. So frustrating, but I am excited for Reg to come out.
This could just be massive copium that I'm saying here, but I think people need to get over their hatred for the game because I don't think they actually know why they hate COD. But it's always hard when you see certain parts of the game that I know in my heart, I know the multiplayer is good. I know the zombies is good. It's solid. They want to just hate on the game as an entirety, but when they play it, they realize it's actually not as bad as people make it out to be. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 258 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
Justin, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. We're recording a bit later than we normally do. Well, it feels a bit later only because it's just pitch black out right now, but
Yes.
it's not actually that much later.
No, usually when we go and start up at like 5:30, we'll go and talk for half an hour, and then we
Yeah.
realize that, hey, we need to actually get the show on the road, and then we start it. But yeah, was it like 6:23 right now?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not
part
even
of it too, man, it
30.
made it feel like today was definitely kind of a lazier day because of the snow that we had to start the day.
Yeah, definitely. This was probably the first snowstorm that we had a decent amount of snow, like sort of.
Mhm. But
And yeah, it wasn't
and
even that bad.
and they got it cleaned up by me at least pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Usually
same with us.
usually they take way too long, and I had to travel today, so I was thinking that it was gonna be bad, but within an hour or so and after I, woke up, the plow people had already taken care of it, and I went to the store and the roads were fine, and I didn't even bother.
Yeah.
But I don't really like driving in the snow that much, especially because I haven't put the winter tires on my car.
Mhm.
I should, but I just roll the dice and think that it's not gonna be that bad, and if it is
Mhm.
bad enough, then I won't have to drive because work probably will get canceled or, just whatever, I won't have to actually go anywhere.
Mhm.
Um, but today I was a little nervous, like, "Oh, man, I hope they clear it up," but yeah,
Yeah.
thankfully they did, which was nice, but we had that, and then I gotta say too, since we've shifted off of our weather talk, we're talking about now, Justin, the beginning of these episodes, a little bit of football, since
Mhm.
boys, they went and pulled it through. I was thinking about you this weekend because of how all the matches played out, regarding the Patriots, and then same thing with the Browns. Oh, no, it's the Bears, sorry,
Bills. Oh, the
Bears.
Bears. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Bills too.
That was
Um,
heartbreaking.
yeah, I was like, "Justin, give
Heartbreaking
us
for the
your instant
Bills.
thoughts. What do you think?"
The Patriots are the truth. I mean, the last time we made it to the AFC Championship was 2018, and we had Tom Brady. So, yeah, people will say that the Patriots had a very easy schedule. Their path to the AFC Championship is a Mickey Mouse path. I can't completely disagree with the weak schedule because it's true. Because if your team is ass like we were last year, you get an easier schedule by like default. So,
Right.
but the path to the AFC Championship, I mean, we can't control that. These teams be playing like ass, so we're taking advantage, you know? I mean, so it's looking good. I'm pretty excited. The Texans played horribly. Patriots also played pretty bad in terms of like turnovers, but yeah, it's looking good. The Bills, heartbreaking loss. I personally thought the Bills were going to win, and I wanted them to win, even as a Patriots fan, because I like Josh Allen, and they've been screwed over. I think it's 6 times now, 6 times to the playoffs in 8 seasons. I believe it's either 6 or 7, 6, 7. And then yeah, they've lost by 1 score, and it's always some controversial call.
Right.
Rough, rough.
But this one, I didn't watch the game. I saw the highlights, but wasn't it because of the interception or the pick, which was crazy that Josh Allen threw, where it got stripped from the receiver, like
Yeah,
halfway
Cooks.
down?
That was a controversial call, yeah. I personally thought it was a catch, and the refs clearly thought it was an interception. That guy was
Mhm.
down. He caught it and it was down. And then the Rams Bears game, a similar, like nearly the exact same situation. It just wasn't a deep pass. Devontae Adams grabbed the ball, went down, and then the guy intercepted it, and they
Mm,
said that he was down.
right.
So people were like, "Okay, there's no consistency here between the refs. Like, how is that down?" And then the Bills game was like an interception. But
Yeah,
it sucks because that essentially made them lose. And I think
right.
every playoff game for the Bills, they've had one controversial call and it's always gone the other team's way. So they've always lost, which sucks. Like that sucks so much getting that close and one call it gets ruined. But you can't breeze over that. I think Josh Allen had like 4 or 5 turnovers, which again, you can't have that many turnovers and expect to win, to be honest. Granted, the other team, they were turning it over a ton too, but they made the least amount of mistakes. But at the end of the day, it came to that call, which sucks.
Yeah, and the fact that he had to have it come down to that call is probably what pisses him off the most because if there were some plays where he played better and didn't throw interceptions, they would have been a score up and then that play wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I
Mhm.
was again, I didn't watch it, but I was so surprised to see the amount of like reactions that it ended up getting because they were showing a whole bunch of the clips from the press conference that they have to do afterwards. Man, they were in tears, those guys. I felt
Yeah.
so bad, because I'm sure that this was probably their best chance or one of the best chances they've had in a long time where they were looking so strong and the Super Bowl was in sight.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were all thinking that this is the year that we do this. A lot of
Yeah.
the other top teams are out and we know we're good and we could take advantage of this. And the fact that they blew it, I'm sure just they're all thinking, are we ever going to get another chance like this?
Yeah. I mean, last year the Bills were, I would arguably say, like the best offense that they've had. Josh Allen, their quarterback, is Superman, legit. Like he
Mhm.
does everything for the team, and not saying the other guys don't, but like he doesn't have a star receiver. He doesn't. It's kind of like a Tom Brady situation, like towards the end of his career with New England, where we had no one to help him
Right.
except Josh Allen hasn't won anything. So
Yeah.
it's it's tough. And this morning they actually just fired their head coach, which is crazy. After 8 seasons,
Oh, geez.
he literally brought them from the depths of hell and made it to the playoffs. I think his career with like his overall win loss, it was like 103 to 58 or something like that, or 53. It was nuts. But
That 2 win loss.
when you can't bring championships, it's tough to make that call, but I understand, right? Something has to change. Like, why isn't it working? They make the
Right.
playoffs all the time. They're breaking records. They're clutch. But then when it comes playoff time, they're losing.
Right, and that's gonna be a factor that people either look back as being a good move or a bad move, right?
Yeah.
Because it must be to what you're saying, they're all thinking that there's gotta be one piece that we're missing here that's gonna get us over. But what if they let this guy go and then next season they're dog shit? And
Mhm.
they realize that, "Oh, man, this dude was huge, like, he was a massive part of why we were successful." Do you think it's a good move?
No. The problem is not the head coach, I can tell you that. The problem is their offense, they don't have any, like, star receivers. Not saying the guys on his team right now aren't like the best. They had Stephon Diggs, who's actually on the Patriots now, but they need one big name player. They just need someone to help him out because he just spreads the ball everywhere. And two, with Sean McDermott out, their offensive coordinator is also like interviewing for head coach positions. So if Joe Brady ends up leaving, there's a chance that the Bills don't have a head coach or an offensive coordinator, so they're gonna have to relearn the system. Well,
Right.
whatever coach and offensive coordinator comes in.
So they've kind of low key screwed themselves.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, it
they could
depends.
set this up where it could be disastrous.
Yeah, or it could be really good. We just
Mm,
don't know yet. I understand where ownership, like, they want to make these changes because again, you've made the playoffs. What, like, I think it's 6. 6, 7 years in a row, and they've just lost.
Yeah.
And it's so tough. This season, they went, I believe it was 14 and oh no, not them. This season they probably did the worst. I forget what their record was. I want to say it was like 9-7, something like that. But last year they won 14 games, or the year before, and they're so clutch, but they can't win in the playoffs. But the Patriots, these
Yeah.
guys, first year for Coach Vrabel and AFC Championship, that's looking good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it right now it's looking good for them, but it's going to be a tough journey to the Super Bowl. But it just takes one. They got to focus on one more match, and then they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the team that from watching all the, games or seeing the highlights, I should say, the team that was surprising the most to me in the game that was the most surprising was the Seahawks 49ers. Bro, first off, what a disaster class from the
Yeah,
49ers, bro. You show up and you get fried like that, which was insane, but to your point about having star people, you probably know, who's the running back for the Seahawks? There's some guy on that
Kenneth
team
Walker.
they kept
Yeah,
giving the ball to him.
yeah,
Oh, he reminded me of, it was like the Marshawn Lynch, like, not
mhm.
as extreme, but that guy, I swear, every play, they're just like, to
Yeah,
him,"
yeah.
and he just kept bulldozing through
He
people.
That guy just had a really good game. He's a good running back, but this
Okay,
season he's was kind of meh.
gotcha.
Yeah, his rookie season he blew up, and then his sophomore season he was like he had the sophomore slump,
Mhm.
and now he's been all right, but obviously he went off during the playoff game where it matters.
Right,
But
right,
again, a lot of it is you have the right people around you, and then your offensive coordinator. You give them the
right.
right plays and to the right players, and it works because the 49ers, I mean, I thought it was gonna be closer. They got mollywopped,
Yeah,
but their entire team's literally injured.
right.
Yeah, they made
So
it
what
to
can
the
they really
playoffs.
do?
Yeah, and their quarterback, Brock Purdy, he's he was injured most of the season, and he came back. He was frying, and then last game they lost their star tight end towards ACL. Oh no, not ACL, towards Achilles, even worse. And yeah, they didn't have all the pieces that they needed. So,
Yeah, that's gotta suck for them, they come that close, and that's how they perform at the end to bow out.
mhm,
Um, that was a pretty upsetting game. A lot of the games too, despite that one, were pretty close. There's that, and then the one that was last night with the Bears, and who did they play again? Was it
Rams.
the Rams?
That was a
That
great
game,
game.
yeah. Uh, when I was at my mom's today, she's from Chicago. She was upset about that one. She's like, "We were
Yeah.
this
Oh,
close. We were this close,"
they should
and
have
they
won.
were, bro.
They should have won.
Yeah.
I was cheering for the Bears, like, mm, because that franchise just has been poverty for a while, like a long
Mhm,
time.
mhm.
And the quarterback, I told you, Caleb Williams, sophomore year, new head coach this year, first year Ben Johnson, and everybody is like, Caleb Williams isn't the guy. He's not the guy. He sucks. This guy paints his fingernails. He doesn't take football seriously, and he makes unbelievable plays.
Bro, that
That
Hail Mary he
uh,
threw?
that was a dot, and he did that, and then I thought they were gonna run down the field and score in overtime, but then he threw the interception to DJ Moore, which I don't know. Caleb Williams took responsibility on that one, which I appreciate. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't think it was his fault. His receiver straight up just gave up on the play. He just slowed down on the run. I'm like, dude. And by the way, DJ Moore is their star receiver. So I don't know what the fuck he was doing because the Bears, they were going to win that. The Rams got so lucky that he threw a pick because he was frying
And who's the quarterback for the Rams?
Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Where's your guy, Cooper Kupp?
It's on the Seahawks.
He's on the Seahawks?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So he got released at the end of last season. So, and he signed with the Seahawks this season. So it's the first year on the Seahawks, and he's in the playoffs, and he's going to be playing his
Which is sick.
old team for the NFC Championship. So that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah. Is that next weekend or this coming weekend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the
I'll have to
Patriots
go
are
watch that.
they're playing the Broncos, which their defense is insane, but their quarterback, Bo Nix, got injured. He fractured his ankle, and he's out for the whole season now. So now they have their backup in, and their backup is Jared Stidham, who was drafted by the Patriots and played with
Damn.
Tom Brady, and, like, yeah,
The storylines are there.
storylines are there, yeah, for sure, and Nick Foles, the quarterback for the Eagles, that he beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl
Right.
as a backup, he, like, made a post. It was pretty funny, but also he's holding on to the Super Bowl, which I understand, but he's like, "The
Yeah.
Patriots, they've always struggled against backup quarterbacks."
Mhm.
And it's him, holding the ring
Right.
and the trophy. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. The the Patriots are looking good. Their defense looks insane. So I think that game is going to be a very defensive heavy game. So I don't think it's going to be very high scoring.
Yeah, pretty low. Yeah, that seems to be the main theme that I've seen with a lot of these games is that, yeah, it is very defense heavy, which I always appreciate watching, because you know how much strategy is involved on both sides, and
Hmm.
it's really just a game of chess at the end of the day, um, which I always think is cool. And I'll tell you, when I see plays like that, I think about this too much anyway with sports. Um, but with that play from the Bears, when I saw that throw that he made, it always amazes me that people can do that, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I just think about the amount of pressure that he would be under in that moment, and he's got these massive people running towards him, and like you say, just throws it, and he barely can see that person and looks for probably a fraction of a second and just perfectly throws it to him.
Hmm.
That blows my mind every time, you know?
Hmm.
But
And the I believe I'm trying to think every besides the quarterback for the Seahawks, all the quarterbacks in the playoffs right now, minus actually, yeah, Sam Darnold and Matt Stafford. They're in the class of 2018 that were drafted, which is insane. That many quarterbacks are in the playoffs, and they all had a like sit down dinner or something with Tom Brady just to get his mindset. And it's crazy that they were just asking questions about how do you get in the right mindset in like different situations like this. And he
right.
was talking about the famous Atlanta 3-28 Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And Brady was like, that game was either going to be the worst game of my career, but I ended up making it the best game of my career. And it's he was just saying like you can never give up. You have to be in the right mindset every second of the game and keep everyone motivated at the highest level going into that. And I mean, Drake May was talking about it. Caleb Williams was talking about it. Bo Nix, they're all like talking about that. You have to have a certain mentality when you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And those guys like embody it for the most part.
Yeah, and that's why they are where they are,
Hmm.
and why they're gonna be, you know, competing at these championships and gonna be going to the Super Bowl. You know, you can't ever think that it's chalked. And
Hmm.
yeah, that mentality, I it's hard to fathom that because even for me, I get competitive with some things, but to that, no. First, the pressure would be so immense, and especially
Hmm.
too when you're down so much or something bad happens, it would be tough to just brush that off and say, whatever. We just got to keep on going. Who cares, you know?
Hmm.
And that's what all those guys do. Like nothing phases them, no matter what. It's, okay, whatever. Got to brush it off. Got to keep going
Hmm.
until the very end of the game. You just give it your all.
Yeah. It's so hard when, I mean, you literally work all season for this. So
Hmm.
if you're just sitting there, you're looking at the scoreboard and it's in your head, that's so tough. But you can't think like that, obviously. Like you played all season, so many games to get to this point, and if you have that slight doubt in your head, it's chalked.
Yeah, the mentality that you gotta have to win, and especially too when you lose, is so important, you know? I would say too with watching COD, you see this a lot with these teams where can't remember who it was. I think it was Slasher who said it, that part of the format that's difficult is you could go and play just one match on a weekend and get your shit ran. and then you
Mhm.
just have to sit and think about that for the entire week now. There's no way to bounce back, which is difficult, or same thing if you're on a win, but you can't be thinking about that, you
Mhm.
know? You have to just if that loss, no matter how bad it is, you just have to keep going and think, "Okay, we gotta go and move to the next match. We just gotta prepare for that and keep doing what we're doing because we know it's gonna work." Um, and I will say, I think that that has played a big role, partly too because the game is still we're so early on. We haven't even gotten to the first major. 2 weeks for us, by the way, coming up. Um, that's what's led to some of these crazy results that have happened because this weekend, um, I had no idea what was going on with any of these matches. Every prediction that I had, and everybody who is, a big time pro or and like people on the flank, etc. Everybody who predicted these matches, everybody got them wrong. No one had any idea how they were going to go, and if they did, they had the weirdest path to actually getting there. We're talking about our Patriots guys doing well. Thank God, Justin, our breach guys did well. Also,
Yeah.
they pulled it out. I thought they were gonna let down Boston on this one. But same thing, like they just had a really odd way. I can't remember now. Did they go down 0-2 and then reverse sweep, or
Yeah,
did
they
they?
reverse
Yeah,
swept, yeah,
yeah. And coming off
against
of
C9.
right, right. Off of what they've been dealing with where they
After
just
they
got
got
reverse
reverse
swept. Yeah, they
Yeah.
got reverse swept, and we're thinking that the mentality's chalked, the whole bit. They're going down 0-2. I'm thinking this franchise is screwed, and somehow they pull it out, and they cease to amaze me, this team. And I
Mhm.
don't know what to think about them as of late. I don't know if I should be psyched on them going into the major or what. I think I'm just still very nervous with this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the consistency needs to be there. The only player that has been consistent is Nasty. His stats in general across the board have been so good,
Yeah.
and them reverse sweeping, a lot of it came down to Cammy. Cammy fried, but the match before that, he got cooked bad.
He did oh,
So,
yeah.
like, again, it's tough. They have to be more consistent, but it is nice to see them clutch up knowing that it's possible, right? I was watching the flank before that after they got reverse swept, and Purge was in there, and, Zuma was talking about them, like, choking or whatever, and, Pat said something it was either Pat or Octane. They said something about Boston, like, blow it up, they gotta make a change, and Purge was like, "Alright, don't be putting our names in your mouth when we come back and win. Just trust me."
I remember that.
And then they come back and they fucking reverse sweep. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing they were able to pull it off because Cloud9 has been looking pretty solid, as a team. They're still in that mid-pack realm, but, uh a lot of people, including myself, were thinking that Boston was going to be on the decline. I just had to pull it up while you're chatting here to talk about your thing with Nasty because Purge and Snoopy struggled that match, but Nasty with a 1.34 KD
Mhm.
is insane overall. He went off and he was player of the or his match MVP. You know, the guy he's continued to deliver for them. He's for sure been the best move that Boston has made, picking him up off of that Vancouver team from last year. But yeah, I don't know how far it's going to carry them. I don't know if they're going to be able to really find their footing right now, going into Major One, where they're going to be able to maybe fight on a Saturday. I mean, hopefully, like we would like a Sunday, but
Mhm.
I don't think that's in the cards. But at the same time, I have no idea because we'll go to
Yeah.
the other matches and they're all over the place, But with Boston, they ended on this one, which looks good. We were thinking that the next match they were going to play against Thieves, that they would win that pretty handily. But now I don't know what's going on with that Thieves
But
team.
yeah,
Uh,
we don't know. See, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of confusion in the mid pack right now. Hey, honestly, even the top, like the top
there's
four,
confusion everywhere, bro.
yeah, yeah. Like Boston is definitely a mid. Boston, G2, C9. You know, those teams are all mid tier, but we don't know where they are in mid tier. But then there's OPTIC, Thieves, Phase. They've all just lost to each other,
Mhm.
and it's like, so are they actually top teams? Obviously, right? Looking at the players, they are, but that means they're beatable.
Right.
they're beatable and they might be losing more consistently. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
Um, which again, that gives I think every team hope. I guess they're probably all going into those matches against Thieves, Optic, and Phase, thinking they can beat them, which they definitely can based on how all these other teams are playing. I mean, look at Falcons. We'll get to them later, but I remember saying you can't just count out these guys, and now like what? Falcons just look good.
Yeah, I was at the video game store, a couple days ago, and I was talking to the guy who runs it because he follows the, CDL, and we were talking about the matches for yesterday, and of course, both of our predictions in hindsight were completely wrong. And we were talking about this exact thing, and he said the only team that is definitely the worst is Surge, which is true. That
Mhm,
is no doubt the worst team. But to your point, everybody else in the middle, I really don't know where they land because they can all show signs of being able to beat the top teams. I mean, going to that phase match, which we could talk about because there was unbelievable things in that went down. Um, I don't think anybody expected that FaZe would lose to G2, and especially the way that they did. I would have put, along with Surge, I would have put G2 right down there as well as being one of the worst teams. And I still would have them down there. Um, but it does show that when those teams are able to get it going, especially them with Skies, who a lot of people, including myself at times, have discredited and saying that it's kind of over for them, they just somehow turn the fucking switch and become those players like back in the day that they
mhm.
were. And all of those guys end up playing at their best ability and playing smart and fundamental. And a team like FaZe, where in that first map, they looked like they were just screwing around with them. All of a sudden, they couldn't hang. When they got to like the last hard point, that black heart hard point, it was it was insane, the difference
Mhm.
between those 2 teams, and no one's gonna be over here saying that FaZe is a bad team or that this really says that much, um, regarding their placing, but it does show that if one of these teams is struggling at any time, anybody else can take their spot.
Yeah.
I don't think FaZe is gonna be one of those teams where, say, they're playing bad and they can just casually roll through teams still, I think
Mhm,
that time right now is gone with the CDL, with this current year, which is phenomenal. If a team is
mhm.
bad or kinda so-so, someone can immediately take over and 3-1 them like G2 did.
Yeah, yeah, and I get in the power rankings technically is like, yeah, yes, you have to look at the players, but Optic, Thieves, FaZe, everyone else in the middle, and then Surge is dead last.
Right.
Literally, everyone else is just somewhere floating around in the middle. I wouldn't even consider Gentlemates, a guarantee win still. They're obviously a good team, but everybody's gonna keep talking about Optic and Thieves and FaZe because of the players. They can be the most consistent. But this is good going into Major One because it's still new to the game, but all the players, and we don't know who's really gonna win, right? Which is
Right.
great. Major One is the best major for any team to swipe a win, to be completely honest, because the game is still so new, and that's when these middle pack teams probably have the best chance. Like I'm gonna predict that Koi, they're gonna be a sneaky, sneaky like top three going into the major.
I could easily see that because right now,
No
people
one's
aren't
talking
thinking
about them.
about. No. No, they're a weird top 5 team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have that pop off ability where Joe Deceives can go crazy. And we
Mhm.
saw that even too with FaZe, where man, Abuza, bro, he was out of his mind this
Yeah.
entire match. He was so good. He really honestly, he prevented them from losing 3-0, being real.
Yeah.
He was so good. The S&D, the fact that they lost that raid S&D and he was popping off that clip that he had where I mean, that was almost, Justin, that was almost in the top 5 best clips of
Yeah.
all time in pro COD. It was so insane that he was able to pull off those snipes. And even still, I think just even though he had to slightly wait for that 4th kill
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
ace with the sniper, um, after seeing that, I thought there was no chance. Like, they were laughing. He couldn't even believe that he pulled that off against them. And the fact that they let that happen, I
Mhm.
thought it was gonna be a wrap. But yeah, to your point, stuff like that can still happen. But even we were saying with the mentality that just whatever, got to keep on going, and they ended up winning it, and they closed out the series. And I can only imagine that phase was checked,
Yeah.
with that match being like, "Bro, you kidding me?" But it does definitely set up an interesting major one. I do think this is the best major one that we've gone into with the CDL so far, um, because there really is no clear cut winner. I mean, with the phase match, like we said, everybody thought that phase was going to win that, and they should have won it on paper. There's no way G2 should have. But of course, they ended up losing. Like, it was still relatively a close series overall. It's kind of a deceptive 3-1. um, so you say like that's just one upset, but then same thing with the Optic Phase one. Um,
Optic Thieves.
oh, yeah, Optic Thieves. Sorry, yeah, Optic Thieves. To me, that made absolutely no sense. I didn't understand, and I still don't understand how Thieves could go from one weekend being so bad and Scrap looking like he's ready to call it quits on his whole career or drop his whole team, and they made Optic look terrible. And
Mhm.
Mercules was pretty much the only one that stopped them, just like with Abuza. He was the only reason that they didn't get 3-0'd in
Yeah.
that first hard point. He was out of his mind. He was playing so good. Um, and I love seeing that. I hate it because I want to see Optic win, but when I see Thieves win, I'm just thinking, hell yeah, they're stirring the pot, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Optics just not being as consistent as they were. Again, these teams are gonna catch up. I guarantee you by major 3, major 4, we're gonna know the clear cut 3 best teams for
Yeah.
sure. They're probably gonna swap back and forth. But yeah, I mean, Thieves went into that match, and I'm sure after losing so bad before, they all met, they were like, "We gotta figure this out." Because
Right.
hot take, I don't think Kenny's a complete like, if they got rid of a Kenny, I don't think that solves the entire problem. I think the problem at the end of the day is, yes, Kenny's not getting as many kills as he should be. Scrap's fine. He's being as consistent as he can. It's that Abizi and Hydra duo, which sounds crazy, but they're not clicking right now. And they need to click faster because obviously they're clicking in that game. And Kenny had, I think he had like a 0.98 KD or something like that overall. And that's all he needed to do.
So, dude, I'll tell you, because I just pulled it up here. That their whole system, like everybody on that team went positive.
Mhm.
Kenny had the highest KD, dude. He had a
Oh, you
one
did?
point, yeah, dude. He had a
Overall?
1.28
Okay.
overall, and he was match MVP. Like,
That I did know. Yeah, he
how the
he could.
fuck? How the fuck did he go from everybody one weekend ready to drop him, and they're gonna go pick up or put their sub in there, and then this guy next weekend is
Mhm.
undeniable in his match MVP. You
World
know,
champion.
right, well,
Kenny.
to the whole question of what everybody was saying with that team, and I remember Octane saying it. I haven't seen, obviously, he, would second go back on what he said, but I remember him saying last week, and a lot of us did, if that team did not make a change prior to this, they've got huge problems. There's no
Mhm,
way. Everyone thought that they had to make a change coming after that. And I think we did too. That
mhm,
was probably going to be the move, that no doubt something was going to be coming down the line for them. But then you have a match like this
mhm,
where they look insane. And something that we got to talk about here is a Beezy running a fucking AR, right?
mhm,
And does that much better, got a positive KD from it. And the team looked way better, and Optic looked lost. The turnaround from one week is crazy. And I don't know
mhm,
what they're going to do now. Now, no one would say that they make any changes, but
mhm.
it's all going to be, I'm sure, predicated off how they do in major one. If they make it into top 3, I'm sure they'll stick. But if they drop out early, then maybe this online match was just a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, they again, they trust the process, and I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was on the flank or if it was some clip that I saw, but uh back in the day, we were watching so many matches. Like Optic would play, then they would play 3 matches after. You're watching so many matches. So now you get a really good pool of, okay, are these guys actually legit or did they just get lucky that one game? You know, obviously they have to win that one series, but it'd be so much better if we are all like able to watch 8 to 10 games a day, whatever it is, right? Like back in the day, it should be like that. And because they're always talking about scrims. I've heard LA Thieves, they've ran scrims before, but then every other team's running scrims too.
Right.
Like Boston apparently is cooking in scrims. They dropped like one map or one series apparently. Well, like I
Where's the
I
results, bro?
exactly, yeah, exactly. And I think they need to change the format at some point so it can be like that. But yeah, it's just hard to see because at the end of the day, I think we're all so biased from week to week. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, drop Kenny obviously from 1 week ago. Anybody that plays COD knows that. All right, the map before, yeah, we just got cooked, and then the next map, everyone pops off again. It's just from like map to map,
Right.
and being consistent is really hard. But we don't get a real look at it unless we see multiple games across the board. And the multiple games is important to see, which I don't know if we're ever gonna get that again, but it's just very biased for like everyone. But again, I understand why people want to make changes, right? If you look bad 1 week, people are probably gonna want to drop you. And the whole goal of like the CDL is you have to win championships. So you kind of have to cater to whatever format it is, which is unfortunate. Because back in the day, if you had so many more matches to play and you had time to settle in with your team, you know what I mean? Like they
Mhm.
had what major one is coming up in 2 weeks for us. They've had like a month and a half essentially of playing. And you're telling me like a lot of these teams want to make changes right away already, like big name teams.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they would be able to just sit down and just keep grinding and playing and have time to adjust. Because again, if LA Thieves made a change, it's probably going to be Kenny because they're not going to get rid of Scrap or Hydra. And Abizi, they're definitely not going to touch because they probably paid a bag to get him.
Mhm.
But I think if they got rid of Kenny, it doesn't necessarily fix the issues that they have. I think Hydra and Abizi need time to figure it out together.
Well, and to that point, I think that was the interesting thing to see was that Abizi was running an AR. It was basically all ARs on the team, which I will
ARs are
say
better.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will say the ARs are in Black Ops 7 are for sure better than the subs. And this is gonna be a thing with rank play because I'm traditionally a sub player, you're traditionally an AR player, but in this game, man, I run an AR way more than the subs because it's just so much they're so much better. You know, the
Hmm.
Dravik is for sure the best sub of all of them, but compared to any of the ARs that you'd be using, it's not even comparable, honestly.
Hmm.
It's so inconsistent, and the fire rate is so slow. When you have an AR that can do basically everything, um, I don't see any reason for it. And I worry that with ranked, that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get 8
Hmm.
ARs in a match
Hmm.
instead of having, the subs with a clear pro over the ARs in certain situations. Right now, that line is pretty gray, which it
Yeah.
hasn't been like this in previous years. But that system seemed to work for Thieves. It wasn't surprising to see that a BZ would try the most broken gun, and like use the best gun in the game. But it was just surprising to see again a BZ not using a sub and
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
prime.
Yeah. I mean, the the M15 is just it is way better than the Dravic, but
Yeah.
I think it's kind of similar to MW2. Yeah, MW2 with the M4 and the Vaznev. Like, I think it's just so early. Obviously, the M15 is way better, but it depends, the map that you're playing on and the routes that you run. Like the routes that you run are sub routes. They're definitely different than routes that I run.
Mhm.
And I'm primarily like I like to call myself a flex player because I don't rock the AR like 100% of the time.
True.
And when we were playing MW2 ranked, there are a lot of maps where I ran a sub when it was primarily an AR map, but it was working for me because of the routes that I ran. They're
Right.
different. Like, uh, and then you would rock an AR on some maps, and I would just use a Vaz. So I think it just depends on the map and the routes that you run. I think as time goes on, we're gonna see it be more consistent of who runs what and what routes that every player is running. Because the M15 got a nerf and the drive got I think it was a nerf where it might have been like a slight buff, but I know that M15 got
I think it
nerfed.
was, yeah. But they still need to bring that those 2 guns even closer, in my
Yeah, they do.
opinion,
Yeah.
because it's still the discrepancy between them is massive.
Hmm.
Um, and for variety's sake, yeah, you don't wanna see on a vast majority of the maps in a series, say they're only playing if it's gonna be, 5 maps, you don't wanna see all ARs all the time. Now, of course,
Hmm.
you won't, but I would rather it be a variety on every one of those maps, and especially from hill to hill, where maybe you want to take out a sub or an AR, depending. Um, but right now, there's teams that are getting by just running ARs 24/7, and it's working for them. But to the point of a patch or something coming out where they bring that gap and they shrink it down a bit, uh, that may mess up some teams.
Hmm.
Um, but it may put it back to where it should be, where a BZ is predominantly using a submachine gun and not using an AR.
Hmm.
Um, and I wonder that must have had an impact on their win. But part of it too was just Optic did not play well, and they haven't looked the same the past couple of
Yeah, you're muted.
my
There
mic
you go.
got muted there
Yeah.
one sec. But yeah, they've had a tough couple of weeks where they haven't looked that good. But to your point earlier, it's tough to say because the sample size is so small.
Hmm.
That's only 2 matches that they've played. And people are already saying that Optics cooked, they're washed. Man, Mercules is the only one that's going to be holding it down for them. This team's a joke,
Hmm.
um, which I think is crazy. But again, it's hard because when you only have a couple of matches that you have to play, and especially now, some of these teams are only going to be playing 1 or 2 more matches before the major.
Hmm.
And that's all you've got. It's not like you have one match on Saturday, in the afternoon, and then okay, you're going to be playing 2 more later that day, and then Sunday you're going to be playing, and you can really get an idea of, well, we've played sent before major one, we've played 30 times or 20
Hmm.
times, and we've only won, 8 of those.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
problem there,
yeah.
where this, you see Optics record, I think they're now 2-3.
Hmm.
Like, that's crazy. They've only played that many matches.
Yeah, and I mean, the less matches you play, the more important every single match is, right?
Yeah,
So that's why
and the more eyes that are on it.
week to week, everyone is saying you got to drop this person. This team's cooked.
Right.
Where back in the day, you're playing 8 matches in one day. So yeah, you could really see. And then the next day, you got a couple more matches. But yeah, I mean, with the meta, it'll be interesting because for pros, it's different. Obviously, Abizi's still going to be running the routes that he needs to as a sub, but
Right.
still using an M15. But in ranked, I truly think that no one in ranked is a pro, obviously, unless you're a true pro.
Right.
And if you're running an M15, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people don't run the right fucking routes or they run the same exact route as me. And I'm like, dude, if you're playing a fast sub and you're using the M15, you better run that route. Like, I don't give a fuck that you have the M15. And that's a problem. People don't realize because they're not thinking about it. But when you run an AR, people slow down. Like, you slow down intentionally, even if you're a sub player picking up an AR because you're not used to it. And it bothers me so much where 4 people are running the same weapon, and you've heard me in matches like, all right, What are you using? Like, what are these guys using? Sub or AR? Like, try to, I'll flex whatever position it is. And when people are running the same routes with the same exact weapons, it's like we're not doing anything. We need two people to like, you know, attack the hill. And people with ARs are not sliding in doing that.
Right.
And when you have four people like aiming in, just waiting for someone to shoulder, it doesn't help. So it it's different in pros because they can get away with that because they know what they need to do. When you're playing in ranked, oh my god, when like three people are just outside of hill with an AR just looking in, I'm like, someone make a play, someone slide in.
Right, right. And I fear that may be an issue is because people are going to use the best gun since the M15 is the best gun, but they're going to play the way that they play.
Hmm.
They're not going to go and actually adjust and have to compensate for okay because I'm using this gun, I should be doing X thing. Um
That's not how you
and
win.
Right, right. You know, there's plenty of times where we've been playing together and we're playing ranked like last year, and there's just lanes that people are not covering. There's exits that are not being covered, and people are just running, like vault. People are running top cat with us. Dog, we don't need four people to be
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a sub. I'm running that fast because I'm trying to get over there, and you have a sub, you should be running in the hill or running with me. Like, why do you have an AR and you're running with me here, bro?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so frustrating. But I am excited for Ranked to come out. Ranked is coming out after the major, supposedly, for season two. And I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And I'll say too, even with ranked, what you were talking about, as I saw a little earlier today, this stat had come out, which just want to get your thoughts on it. It said that Call of Duty, which is Black Ops 7, Warzone, and BO6, was the number two most played game on PlayStation, Xbox for the week ending in January 10th. And Battlefield 6, which is BF6 and RedSec, is no longer in the top 10 on those. It's number 8 at Xbox and number 3 on Steam. So Call of Duty, Justin, making a resurgence. It's coming back to the top. Are you surprised?
Told everyone.
Never wrong, just early.
But Battlefield, everybody was saying again, I'm sure it's still a good game, but they chalked themselves, man. Like
Mhm.
you're going up against a Titan. There's a reason why COD is, a top game from year to year.
There's gonna
I honestly don't know what's going on with the Battlefield side, but I know players are not happy. Or they're bored and they've just left.
you know,
And that's
I
yo, EA,
had
you trust EA? Like
yeah, right. But then today say it's like, "Bro, and you trust Activision?" Which
I
fair
trust
enough.
Activision more than EA. EA has
No,
cooked so many
no.
franchises.
Well, I think with, Battlefield, and maybe people who are listening, they would know, better than us, but I was talking to, my friend about it, and he was saying that RedSec is the problem with Battlefield. Like, people are not a fan of that right now, which is
Mhm,
dragging it down because I think that was a really hyped mode or, like,
mhm,
their version of a BR that people
mhm.
wanted to be playing, and it hasn't lived up to the hype. Which, because again, they're gonna be comparing it to Warzone. Like, that is the benchmark for an FPS battle royale that people are trying to hit. But it doesn't surprise me that it's come back. I feel that a lot of people who went to Battlefield, it was either A, you're the small minority of people who genuinely do love the game and will buy it no matter what. And I respect those people. But I do feel that a large amount of people who bought the game were either just COD haters and they wanted to go and support the game, or the people who, like my friend, play every type of FPS that comes out, and they saw there was hype behind it and were excited and bought it, and now they've come to the point where they're done with the game. They
They're
wanna go and
bored.
move on
Yeah.
because, "Oh, Arc Raiders came out. Let's go play that,"
Mhm,
And then there's gonna be a new flavor of the month in 6 months, and they're gonna go and jump on that, and
mhm.
it's at the end of the day, COD is still gonna be standing there, and people, no matter what, will just come back to it and wanna keep playing it, and I think that's why it's remained at the top.
Yeah, and we sound like COD fanboys right now, but you look at
We
the
ain't getting
data.
paid to say
Yeah,
this shit.
yeah, it's just
It's
this
just fact.
game, this is a good game. Black Ops 7 is a great game. Battlefield 6, I'm sure is a good game too,
Yeah.
but like you said, I think so many people went to Battlefield because of the COD hate, and I would like to know if anyone listening was a COD hater and went to Battlefield 6, is it better on that side? Are you still playing?
Right.
Because I know the people that like a couple of my friends went to Battlefield 6 and they were like, I'm not buying like Black Ops 7. It sucks. They're not playing Battlefield 6 anymore. That was what, a $70 game. They just wasted $70
Right.
or $80.
People like to go and hop on that high horse and think that, you know what, man, I'm not supporting them. Screw those guys. I'm not going to do it. Uh, and then eventually they succumb, and
Mhm,
they all realize at some point they can't be holding out forever, because then they're looking at around at the other games and it's not doing anything for them.
mhm,
And I think that's the case with this. I'm sure there's plenty of people now that have come back to it and wanted to play Warzone, or especially they've heard from people like us or others. Yeah, of course the campaign in this game is the worst that's ever been made. No one, they should be disgraced. But honestly, the multiplayer is good, and same thing with zombies. Zombies has been great. And I saw too with zombies that they're going to be adding even more of it. Like the plan, I think that I put it down there, is that they're going to be adding 5 post-launch maps in total throughout the life cycle of this game, and the next one's coming season 2 reloaded. Like the content is flowing for Call of Duty, and it's kind of where the fans, I wouldn't say where they've totally wanted it, but it's moving in the right direction on the multiplayer side and on the zombie side.
mhm.
Um, and maybe this could just be massive copium that I'm saying here, but I think people need to get over their hatred for the game, because I don't think they actually know why they hate COD, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
the bandwagoners
yeah,
that
I see
actually yeah.
yeah, trust me, I see plenty of guys, there's like, I've mentioned him before, the big YouTuber Ackman. He's kind of given up on Call of Duty, and I totally understand it and I respect him for it. Um, but it's always hard when you see certain parts of the game, and we've played it forever, that I know in my heart, I know the multiplayer is good. I know the
Mhm,
zombies is good. Like this is it's solid. And but he mainly only shits on the campaign, and I'm like, absolutely, you
mhm.
1000% hate on that all you want. But how many of these people who hate on the game, how many of them really only play it for the multiplayer? Like, how, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
think
yeah.
many of those people do. They want to just hate on the game as an entirety, but when they play it, they realize it's actually not as bad as people make it out to be, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly, and I think it's because you and I can see both sides. We're not saying COD is perfect. They've gotten a lot of shit
Oh,
wrong,
no,
a
no,
lot of stuff
it's
wrong.
got a long way to go.
Yeah, but Treyarch developed this game, and they did a fantastic job with the multiplayer. You and I can see both sides to it, and like you said, this multiplayer is a great multiplayer. We're having a ton of fun on it, and we're gonna talk bad about the multiplayer if it was bad, but the majority of people hating on COD, I like to think, are just bandwagoners. It's just normal and the trend to hate on Call of Duty, and people just hop on that bandwagon and they don't give it a shot. Which fine, if you want to hop on that bandwagon and not give it a shot, your choice. But you're missing out on a pretty good multiplayer in, the past, what, 5 years that we've had, essentially.
Yeah, and the real question when it comes to the franchise and all these other games that are coming up and are doing well, it's going to be just continuing what has been laid down in this title. This was for sure multiplayer wise so far. It's been a step in the right direction for them. Um, but it's going to come down to everybody else that's going to develop the game in the next couple of years here. And do they just continue with that thread, or do they go back and then they give us a reason to hate the game, and it's very hard for us to defend it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm more like, the maps ain't too bad, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only thing I can say. Um, but no, it's good to see that COD is doing well. Um, and I think it'll continue to do well, and especially as they put out more content for it, and we get more maps and we get more stuff regarding zombies. Uh, I don't believe it'll be very difficult for it to hold a top spot for most like concurrent players and most people playing on any of those consoles. I think it's going to stay there.
Yeah, and I think too with all these streamers, the trying to find, the next game, people just get bored, like, quickly nowadays, right? The brain rot is there for everyone, especially gamers. So there aren't many people that can just sit down and play for hours on one game. And I get it. And the streamers, like, the streaming arc raiders, obviously everyone's hopping on that because more people are going to watch that. A lot of people aren't going to be sitting down and watching Call of Duty. And then I think because there's people are seeing their favorite streamer not play Call of Duty, they're like, oh, this game's just bad. So I'm not even going to try it. And we know Call of Duty's been bad for a couple years. So I'm not even going to bother like buying it.
Right. Well, and every year there's a game that comes along that people want to be playing all the time, and COD always stays there. You know, Apex was the first one. Everybody hopped off COD because Apex had the BR, and all the top streamers were playing it and loving it, and it was labeled as the COD killer. And then I don't really hear anybody talk about it anymore. Then it was Marvel Rivals, and everybody was loving Marvel Rivals and saying that that was the best. And now I don't hear much about Marvel Rivals. And now it's Arc Raiders, and everyone's saying that Arc Raiders is going to overthrow it. And make a call 6 months from now, 8 months from now, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as popular as
Mhm,
it is right now because something else is going to take its place. It's going to be some new game that comes along that's going to be 30, $40, and it's going to be a great game and people are going to love it. There's this
mhm,
continuous cycle of second place games that are coming
mhm,
along, and COD is just always there, and people hate it because it's always been there and people want to dethrone it, but they can't seem to find a consistent game to develop and over years maybe get to that top spot because again, people get bored of games so quick now.
mhm. Yeah, and, the only game that's done it really is Fortnite, but they carved out their own different section, right?
Mhm.
And every developer that comes out with a new game, you're gonna be whatever, if it's an FPS, yeah, you're gonna be competing against Call of Duty, but you're gonna get your little community out of the hype of all these streamers and the game's good. You'll generate that community and then, the next new game like comes out. Everybody goes to that. But there's always a good portion of players that stay within that game, right? Which I'm sure for the developers that's perfectly fine. I think at the end of the day, like these developers understand how big COD is. They're not like trying to compete against COD. They're fine with taking their players away and hopefully gaining a large number of their players and have them try out the game. And the players realize, oh, this is a fun game. I'll play this, or this will be a side game that, I'm invested in. And then the new game's going to come out. And I'm sure the people that transferred over to like Arc Raiders, they're going to have a community that stays there, even when the new game comes out. Right. But it's the players and the fans of all these games creating this divide among Call of Duty and then all the other games. There can be multiple games, but no one can deny that COD's just going to be up there because of one, when they started. COD has so much history. I want to see other games that can last like well over a decade,
Well,
2 decades.
that's the thing with COD is that player base that you're talking about that Arc Raiders has built and I mean every game that's ever been put out has built, but the ones that we're talking about they're going to have that for a long time and
Mhm,
if they want to keep those numbers or grow them, they need to listen to those fans and just continue to put out content to build them up and give them a reason to play. But I remember seeing videos prior to Battlefield 6 coming out where like these were the big time Battlefield players, the fans of it have been playing since, like Bad Company.
mhm,
Um, and we're like, whatever you do, please do not do this battle royale. Do not do it.
mhm,
Like, we don't want to BR. But you would hear all the top streamers, everyone, if this game's gonna do well, it needs a BR mode. It has to have it. They all said this about Halo too. It needs a BR. It needs it. And the big time fans like, please don't do it. And I could only see that with Battlefield now, where when they put that mode out, the big time people who wanted it, "Oh, it sucks. Yeah, screw it. We're done. We're gonna play something else." And then the longtime Battlefield fans are looking around like, "Bro, all you had to do was just make a good multiplayer. That's all you needed. Like, we don't
mhm,
want anything else." But they do that, and that's what's hurt the game. And that instead of having that core fan base of people that were gonna stick to the multiplayer, they saw the Warzone competition of it, seeing the battle royale and jump ship. They don't want it. They're gonna go find it somewhere else. So they lost that potential group of people they could have carried on for however many years.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's amazing that COD has kept those people. I'll say really quick, I played COD 4, the multiplayer for it, like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. And it's amazing to see that game and think that it came out that long ago. Like, I think it's
Mhm.
almost now 20 years since that game came out. It might even be over 20 years ago. And to see the elements of that game that to this day are still there, like the perks, the kill
Mhm.
streaks, like weapon customization, all that started from there. And they just built that and they kept it and the fans loved it. And that's why they've kept their player base all these years.
Mhm. Yeah, and the streamers have so
They
much
do,
influence of big
big
streamers,
time.
which I'm sure they're influencing all these, smaller developers for sure. And yeah, even the big developers. And I understand it, but like you said, you have to listen to your community. Obviously, you always want to grow. You don't want to stay stagnant the whole time. You do want to grow. But growing slower is much better than like blowing up, and you have so many new players that love the game. All right, now you have to keep that up. You need new ideas. You need to develop, new things for the game to keep those players, because we all know that the players are going to drop off within a month or two, most players. And then you're going to have your core audience that stays there. And I think COD, part of its timing too, when they started, like in the early 2000s, there, there weren't that many games that were great. That like COD, big FPS genre. Well, it was COD and Battlefield. I mean, there were other smaller FPS games, but that's what the war was. COD and Battlefield. They captured everyone.
And I'll say quick just to interject because I want to hear more. The other one, when I watched that guy's video on COD 4, those guys, what they said their other competition was Halo for Xbox. They're like, that we wanted to go and beat that because no one wanted to play COD. Everyone
Mhm,
wanted to play Halo, you know?
mhm. Yeah, and that's fair. And Halo is a Xbox exclusive too,
Hmm.
where COD you could play on both. And yeah, I COD is great timing, and they made good games back then. But now I feel like anybody from the FPS realm, that they've come from COD somehow. All of us have. We all have like a little piece of Call of Duty in us, unless you're born in the late 2000s now, where you had Val, or you had like CS:GO, like all these other games. And it's just really weird seeing that, people hating on COD so much, where all of us kind of came from that community. Yes, COD is fucked up multiple times, trust me. We both know, like for sure. But COD's always gonna be there. And
Yeah.
I'd be very, very surprised. I think we said it last episode. It'll be here in 30 years. 30 more years, it's still gonna be here. Unless something crazy happens. Like, I'm talking someone just buys a franchise and it's no longer Call of Duty.
Right. And people listening would think that's crazy, but to think that since COD 4 came out, every single year there has been a new Call of Duty that has come out and built off of that game, nobody would have been able to predict that, you know? So what's to say that right now from Black Ops 7 that we're not going to have another sling of 10, 15 years of Call of Duties? But the real question is, and I don't know the answer to it, is how good are they going to be? Are they going to be
Mhm,
10 to 15 years of crap like, we've gotten in the past 5 years? Or is there gonna be that moment where there's a turning point for Call of Duty and they kind of bring a lot of the people back and a lot of the longtime fans that fell in love with those games way back when?
mhm,
That's the
yeah.
real question. I don't know what they're gonna be able to do.
And Black Ops 7 could be the start again of that.
I
There's a
mean,
great multiplayer.
I'm saying I'm
And
saying.
I think if COD's gonna be here for decades, I'm sure they're gonna change something. They're more than likely gonna change something with the game, meaning the cycles of the game. Maybe they don't release every year anymore. They release like every other year. Not saying that's the best move or something, but I'm sure that model is somehow gonna change. Something's gonna change with that. Unless COD is just so big and dominant to where they're just gonna release 30 more games for 30 years and the fan base is still there, which I'm sure it will be, but I don't think they wanna do that necessarily because they realize it's not working every year. Like, they're gonna need a change somehow. I don't know what that change is gonna be. Don't know if that's gonna be next year, that's gonna be next 5 years, whatever, but we've got a long time with Call of Duty.
Yeah, the change is gonna come from the consumers. At the end of the day, just like anything. Activision will and Call of Duty will continue as long as people are buying it, obviously. But if
Mhm,
I saw, I believe it was with this year that there was a massive decrease. I want to say it was like 60% down somewhere where I saw the figure from last year. It's numbers like that that the
mhm.
shareholders see and tweak, and then they think, what do we really need to do to keep this franchise going? It needs to be moments like that where the consumer says, no, I'm not going to be putting up with this.
Mhm.
And serious change comes. And that's why this year it's so weird because they did make changes for us. And we were one of like the sheep who bought it,
Yeah.
but we actually like it because it's a good game. But it's also a year where the campaign and all that is such bullshit. And the people who put their foot down and didn't buy COD, I respect them because I'm like, yeah, that is terrible. But it also has this stuff that's really good. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a real odd year. And now if everything was terrible, then I could understand why people wouldn't want to buy the game at all.
Mhm.
Um, but that's where for us it's hard to say because I can support those people, but I also, wanna say to them, like, "If you're a multiplayer guy, like, man, you'd love this game," you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? You're never gonna know unless you actually try it.
right,
And this is the one year that a lot of people have decided, "I'm not buying the game anymore," because the games have been bad for the past 5 years. And Treyarch is probably thinking, "God damn it, just try the game because we tried so hard. Last year was a fluke. That
right,
wasn't our
right,
game.
right.
This is our game, and we're trying to do everything we can." And so far, they've done good. I mean, we haven't talked bad about this COD, like multiplayer wise, campaign,
Yes.
whatever. But right, we always talk about multiplayer. Like the weapons are good. The We haven't complained about a single map,
No.
like at all. All the maps that they've added are good maps. The weapons that they've added in the seasons are all good. They're adding zombies. Like you and I are enjoying it.
Mhm.
It's just yeah, it is a weird year compared to last year where you and I were just down in the dumps. No one liked that game.
Yeah, and that was a more quiet year at the start of it, but it was still kind of rumbling. Now it's come to a full, everyone doesn't want to be playing it and everyone's trashing on it. I will say, I think next year, they say this every freaking year, but next year is for sure going to be a huge year for Call of Duty because they've laid the groundwork this year to set them up for success. And if they go backwards on a lot of the things that have been done, um, then I'll really understand why people don't want to play it.
Mhm.
Because then that's going to be blatant disrespect to my point earlier about the people who have always played the games, like you and me, have always bought the games, and we've had some lean years for sure. But when things are going good right now, and everyone's like, "Yes, just keep doing this." Like when it comes to multiplayer, do that. Campaign, don't do that. Don't ever do that again. But if they don't listen and they do, the opposite of what we want, then a lot of people are gonna be like, "Why are we buying this?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is your actual plan here with this series? Because we've been here since day one, and you don't give a damn about us."
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean don't try something new. Obviously,
Yeah.
every COD or generations of COD, like something new has been added, which I understand, but that needs to be brought up to players. You can change something. I totally get it. We want change. We don't want the same thing every year, but tax sprint, for example. No one asked for that. That's a huge core mechanic of the game that they completely
Mhm.
changed, and everybody that's been playing COD doesn't like it. Going to Black Ops 6, Omni movement, huge core mechanic, like movement change, but it was an enhanced version of what the normal movement already is. Like, it's not another input at
Right.
all. It's just running. Now you can run backwards, sideways, left to right, what it should be. Super
Mhm.
fluid. Tack sprint, changing the mechanic of the movement, but you're adding another input.
Right.
And there's a stopgap between, oh, you're running, you have to hit it. Now your tack sprint and your weapon goes up. It's very, very different. I think Treyarch has added enough changes where it's an enhancement to the game, whereas they're not completely changing it.
Right. And they listen to us by getting rid of it out of the, like, as a core component of the game, you know? Of
Mhm,
course, it's as a perk right now, um, which I ain't never gonna touch that, but it seems like they listened to us on that, which was
mhm,
great. It took a lot of these developers way too long to be able to
mhm.
figure that out, but to my point too, now with next year, if tax printing is back in that game, then that's a slap in the face to me.
Yeah, what is,
W
I the Sledgehammer's developing it,
I
or
believe so.
Infinity Ward?
I forget who
I
has.
it's
One of those 2 for
it's one of
sure.
them. Yeah.
I wanna say it's Infinity Ward,
I
but
want yeah, because it's MW4? That's a
that's the
rumor?
rumor, yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
supposed to be that.
Yeah, so it's probably Infinity Ward.
Right,
Better
and if
fucking listen.
well, yeah, and again,
Yeah.
if they don't, then I'll understand people wanting to skip that year.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and I get if yeah, the game they're already working on it, right? But if
Mhm.
they see this, like, scrap it. Scrap that shit. You can
Scrap it
take it
now.
out. Scrap it all. Scrap
Yeah,
it all. If you've seen the feedback of the campaign and your campaign's like that, scrap it. Don't
yeah,
even release it.
yeah. No, they've got a whole AI supercomputer right in the campaign. They're like, "We gotta junk it, boys." I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, if we need to play another year of Black Ops 7 because you realize, you know what? Let's just trash everything
I'm
and
like,
restart. I would respect that so much. Them being truthful and honest and not putting out, a game that most players won't like.
right. Now, I totally agree.
That's not going to
Um,
happen though.
I'd rather have, like they say all the time, quality over quantity. I don't
Mhm,
need a new COD every year. I like it, but if you're going to be putting out absolute trash year after year, where you don't listen to the fans, you don't make necessary changes, then I don't really see a point. You
mhm,
know, and there again, there's been tough years for us from year to year where the changes are very slight, no doubt. But with this one, it was a good move. They put us on the right path. I just hope and pray that they continue us on this path for years to come. Because if they don't, there's going to be a revolution, Justin.
Yeah. And, as they say, you just got to enjoy the good times because we
Yes,
don't know when we're going to be out of them.
we're in them right now,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
This is a
We're,
good game. I don't give a fuck what you say. It's a good
yeah.
game.
The fact
Enjoy it.
that you and we've probably played the least amount of COD together and we're still playing like solo. I don't think people understand like the normal person that isn't sitting there grinding games like all day. I under
Mhm.
everybody listening to this is a gamer, but I highly doubt there are a lot of people in here that are, out of college or out of trade school. They're working a job 8-10 hours a day that has the time to sit and play for 6 to 8 hours
You don't want to say
all
it.
day. You know,
Yeah,
it,
no,
it it's hard, and as much as you know, we would like to because we have other games that we like to play too, but it's hard. Um, and I think that the casual person, for the most part, wants to sit down and maybe play a couple games like by themselves, right? If you're able to sit down and play a game by yourself for hours, that's a telltale sign that it's a good game, like
yeah,
huge, because you're not relying on someone else being there for you to enjoy it. Obviously, you and it's fun to play games together. But like, am I gonna go back and play, I don't know, Dead Island if I'm not playing with you. No, that ain't happening. I'm not gonna go and play some other game if it by myself if it's not good. Like any game for the most part is gonna be fun because you're playing with friends. Because you're playing with
Yeah,
your friends.
of course.
But if you can sit down and play for hours by yourself in one game, you like unlock a core uh, game for yourself.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a game that, in my opinion, warrants the $70 price tag.
Yeah.
I don't see a point in playing a game where only on occasion you're gonna be playing it with your buddies, and you maybe do that like once or twice a week, which most people who are like casual gamers, they maybe only play that much if they got a full-time job and everything. Um, so you have to have a game that you can play by yourself and actually enjoy, and then also have those times to link up. And for us, yeah, that's been Black Ops 7. I can play that game for hours by myself,
Mhm.
and then also, like, playing with you, yeah, it gets even better because, we get to chat and have fun, but it's also we're playing on a fun game. It was
Yeah,
not like that when we were playing together on Vanguard. It was not the same story where we're over here saying, "This game's great, dude. What a fun time." No, no chance,
no, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
We're still
Um,
struggling, and
yeah.
we're excited about ranked. When ranked comes out, we're gonna be playing
Oh,
way
yeah.
more. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
most people at this point that's
Eh,
into competitive, we're sitting here waiting for ranked. And
yeah.
I will say too, I've been slowly working on camos. I haven't given up yet. Normally, I tap out at this point. I'm
Mm,
like, "God, this is boring. Not
yeah,
gonna do it." And I'm still enjoying it. Again, it reminds me of Cold War. Cold War, I
yeah.
could just sit there and play for hours,
Mhm.
and I can do it with this game. So when ranked comes out, it's gonna be even better because I know I'm gonna get addicted to the process of I just want to get better. I want that SR. Like I want to get to the next rank. So
And I'll have a good player by my side too, so I'll be like, "I can fucking do this."
yeah, yeah, exactly. And
I'm
the
not I'm
maps
not
are
gonna
good.
go in not going into
Yeah,
a game and I see everybody else on my team being complete trash. I'm like, "You kidding me?"
yeah, yeah. But that even with ranked, the fact that I'd be willing to jump into ranked solo means it's a good game.
Yeah, yeah. Slightly suicidal, but
Yeah, slightly, slightly.
but it's a good side though.
Yeah, yeah. That means you're enjoying it.
Yeah. But no, I think closing on that, I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll be chatting more about ranked when it comes out. I did see some things that like they showed some of the icons. I don't know if it's legit because I saw Ghost of Hope being like source, so I don't know.
Yeah,
But hopefully we hear more about ranked as it draws closer here. And yeah, I mean, honestly, let us know about our whole talk here with Call of Duty and some of these side games trying to step up. I'd be curious to know what people think, if they agree or disagree with us. So if you're listening on Spotify, we'll go have the question there. So be sure to answer it. And then same thing on YouTube. If you're not on the YouTube, be sure to go to the YouTube. We'll have it linked below,
drop
COD
a comment.
Casuals. Yeah, and just drop a comment as to what you think about that. Are there games that are all scrapping away here for the second place spot? Is there going to be another game that comes here in a handful of months to try to take it over? Or is Apex always going to be around? Is Battlefield 6 like going to have a resurgence here? Same thing with Arc Raiders. Only time will tell, but I'm curious what other people think who actually play those games. But
Yeah, yeah. And if you want to have a conversation about this
where do we go,
instead of
Justin?
a comment, go join the Discord.
Hmm.
I'll leave a link
Absolutely.
down below. Come join the community. We're gonna be we talk about COD, we talk about setups, we talk about other games, literally anything. Go join the Discord, especially too if you're interested in the Optic major. You watch the CDL, you've never been to a major before, and I guess you want to understand what a major's like. You don't have friends that go there, and you want to see what it's like. Join the Discord because at the time you guys are listening to this or when this episode drops on Monday the 26th, Mike and I are going to be heading to the Optic Major that Wednesday. We are flying to Dallas. We're going to cross it off our bucket list. It's going to be a time, and we're definitely going to be in the Discord all the time. Just
Hmm.
letting everyone know we're going to be taking pictures. Probably going to record a little vlog or something because I know people have asked that they're never going to be able to go to one, so they want to see what it's like. So we're going to do our job and get that stuff going. But if you guys want to talk about it, if you're at the major, let us know. We can meet up. We
Hmm.
can talk about the games. So
Absolutely.
join this Discord.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, too, with all the socials, be sure to give us a follow as well. But for sure, the Discord, that's been the new push for us. So we would greatly appreciate if you guys join over there. And I think that does it, huh?
5 stars on
Only
everything.
5 stars.
And,
Yeah.
and follow.
Yeah. I
Follow.
was gonna say, you guys know the deal. Anchor.fm/, COD Casuals is there. Instagram, TikTok, go follow us over there. Same thing on X, the COD Casuals, the YouTube, and like Justin said, the Discord, and then 5 stars always. That
Mhm.
rating helps us out a ton since we're trying to be the #1 Call of Duty podcast. So every rating helps and we appreciate it. And I think that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So again, everyone, thank you for listening to episode number 258 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike,
I'm Justin.
and we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.